Boy, what a legend you're looking at right there. And I can't believe this. I really can't, because it seems like last week the high school football season was starting. But we've arrived at the last week of the regular season for Ohio high school football. And this is a very big deal for one area school, for their players, their fans, their coaches. We're talking about Saint Ignatius High School. That's because the mastermind behind one of the state's true powerhouses over the last 4 decades is coaching his final regular season game. The legendary Chuck Kyle of Saint Ignatius will lead out the Wildcats at Wasmer Field this evening one last time in the regular season. He's retiring bets after 40 incredible seasons there.
It is amazing, most certainly. So we, of course, want to go over to the campus of Saint Ignatius, where we find our Nick Camino and Super Dave Chudowski doing a little double duty today for what will surely be an emotional evening. Hi, guys.
Great to be with you guys. Dave said this is usually when he's waking up to watch you guys out here at Wasmer Field, right? I got to tell you, Dave, this feels like we're here at Wasmer Field where they never hold football games.
No.
This doesn't really feel like there's going to be a game here tonight. This feels like it's going to be a celebration, right?
Yeah, CYO games, right? and they practice here, but a varsity football game, incredible, bringing in bleachers and bathrooms, and I mean, you have to bring all these extra lights, right, for this game tonight.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a guy, I mean, not just 40 years as head coach, but 51 years at Saint Ignatius. And I remember as a kid, I mean, following Chuck Kyle, you just wanted to be a part of it. I remember going to a state title game just because you wanted to be part of what was brewing here at Saint Ignatius. And there's no one better to tell this story than our very own Jim Donovan. He knows Chico better than anybody.
This trophy, this effort is dedicated to Saint Ignatius High School and to all of you and to these fine, great football players. Thank you very much.
The man who built one of the greatest dynasties in Ohio high school sports history is calling his last plays. Chuck Kyle. Now that is a lot to take in. Saint Ignatius football without Chuck Kyle, we never wanted to even think about that. That's how great he's been. Saint Ignatius has been his life. He was a student there, a decorated athlete. He came back and worked there. It was time to teach, and so he took that job. And then, of course, coach. But to be truthful, we know him as a coach who also taught. He would quickly tell you, I am a teacher first and then a coach. But he took over as head coach of the Wildcats in 1983. But it was in 1988 when it all came together. Kyle had a big-arm quarterback named Joe Pickens and tons of talent around him. And perfection was achieved. And with only Cincinnati-Princeton standing in their way, Kyle had his Wildcats around him before the state championship game in the locker room of Ohio Stadium. And he delivered the speech of his life.
Be state champion. Be state champion. Let's go! Let's go!
And with a goal line stand in the game's dying seconds, the Ignatius dynasty had its foundation, a state championship. Kyle and Ignatius weren't done, not even close. 10 more state titles followed, 11 in all, 3 national titles. It didn't matter where you came from, east side, west side, south or north. Kids flocked to play at Ignatius, to play for the great Chuck Kyle.
Final whistle has blown in this ball game. Looking forward to a new era in Baltimore.
Back in 1995, when Art Modell yanked the Browns from Cleveland, there was a huge void to fill. And that void, for many, was filled by Saint Ignatius football. Thousands would flock to stadiums on Friday or Saturday nights just to watch them win. Kyle's teams played with poise, power, but most of all, class. And Chuck Kyle was the maestro. You were proud they were from Cleveland. Did college jobs come his way? Of course they did. Lou Holtz wanted him at Notre Dame. Ohio State came a-calling, and many others. But Chico had 2 families to consider. His own, all of the Kyles, and the other family over on West 25th Street, all those kids who wanted to be coached by him. So he stayed home. He's won all the awards imaginable, locally and nationally, and now at 71 years old, well, he's saying it's time. But what an honor and joy it has been to watch him, to listen to him, but most of all, to know him. And the St. Ignatius alma mater captures it so perfectly. Chuck Kyle is an Ignatius man forever.
You believe in yourselves, and you believe in your teammates, and you believe in our school, St. Ignatius High School.
Well, a great look back from our own Jim Donovan, and just look at the resume for Coach Chuck Kyle, right, Dave? I mean, look at the record. 374 wins, 11 state championships, 3 national championships. Those were some special teams. I know you and I were talking a little bit before we got started today. You grew up on the west side in Bay. I grew up on the east side in Solon. Didn't matter how old you were. Everybody knew Chuck Kyle, right? Everybody knows this man. What a legendary career.
Yeah, everyone knew who he was and what he accomplished, and he also had a nickname.
Yes,
right?
he has, and you've done a little bit of history on this, right? You did a little homework on how he got the name Chico, correct?
That's right. Maybe top 5 most famous nicknames in all of Cleveland, right? Maybe number 1, I don't know, right? Chico Kyle, right? So I did a little digging to share with everyone how he came up with this nickname. Here's how it happens. He grew up in Indiana, and he was a big baseball fan as well, and Chico Carrasquel was his favorite player, played for the White Sox. You see him right there on your TV, and he loved Carrasquel. And here's the funny part about it. Then Chico, now named Chico, right, moved to Cleveland, and Carrasquel got traded to the Indians.
Wow.
Right? Carrasquel came to Cleveland to play baseball. So, of course, you know, Chuck Kyle moves from Indiana to Cleveland, so it made sense that people started calling him Chico. His brother started calling him that, and it just stuck, and everyone called him Chico, and it's just, I mean, from younger to older, it has stuck with them no matter who it was calls him that.
Some great history there for Chico Kyle. We will all miss him when it's all wrapped up. But tonight, a celebration for his final regular season game here at Wasmer Field on the campus of St. Ignatius High School. Jay, Betsy, going to be quite the night. Let's throw it back to you guys.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you very much. It's one thing to win, but he always won with class. And if you want to know the measure of a coach, go talk to his former players.
Right.
And he was on an Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show earlier this week, and he said he's been hearing from former players, many of them went to the NFL, all through the season. Once it was announced that he was leaving, he just started hearing from them one at a time, one after another. They revere the man, and most of them will tell you they wouldn't be where they are right now without Chuck Kyle.
Well, and then there's his other family, of course, Maureen Kyle, our morning anchor, his daughter. And so we all are kind of, you know, we tag on to Maureen that we're in the Kyle family, too.
We feel like it. We really do. Yeah.
We invite ourselves on in. All right, well, we'll, of course, continue to keep you covered on that game tonight.